Hey everybody, happy
Hi, everyone.
Monday. I've got a special guest on this week's weekly kickoff. I've got my co-host on top line, Asad Zaman. Asad, hi, how are you?
Hello, I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. We've got a big week. Today is, I don't know when we're sending this email because today might be Monday, January 15th, which is Martin Luther King Day. You don't have that holiday in Canada, to my
But I
knowledge.
celebrate it either way.
and Or it's Tuesday, January 16th, but whichever it is, it's going to be another really big week in Pavilion. I've got a couple things that I want to tell everybody about, and then I've got some questions that I have for Asad. First, Outward Performance for Leaders, a course that we offer through the Arbinger Institute. That's open. It starts January 30th, so sign up right away. Kevin Dorsey is teaching a sales leadership accelerator, also included in your membership. That starts February 6th. CMO School starts February 7th. That is going to be amazing. Our wonderful Dean, Andrea Kyle, is going to, or Kale, actually, it is pronounced Kale, like the salad. All of that is happening in the next couple of weeks. Also, Asad and I will be in Scottsdale next week for CEO Summit. We've got incredible speakers there. Jason Lemkin's going to be there in person and hanging out. Matt Blumberg's going to be there, founder of Return Path and Bolster. Guy Rubin from EBSTA is going to be presenting new data. Gary Service from Insight Partners is going to be presenting on AI. So we're really, really excited about that. And then finally, and this is what I wanted to talk to Asad about, we've got the executive compensation survey open. It's one of the most important surveys that we run. It's referenced regularly across the membership. I even had a conversation this morning with a member that's interviewing and wants to know what are some of the recent trends. Now, Asad, besides being an incredible member, a member of our CEO community, one of the best docket preparers
Let's
in
go.
in podcast history. A very nice person. You all don't know, but anytime you need a pick me up, you need someone to tell you that you're great, Asad will do it. And he's also got access to a ton of data. So, Asad, when you're thinking about executive compensation in the job market, a couple questions for you. But first, what trends have you noticed over the course of the last year?
I think the most interesting trend was the one we discussed with Peter Walker in the top line episode, which was that Carter had put out some data on executive compensation. And this is not for go to market, this is broader. But what they found was that salary had essentially not gone down, but had not gone up either. And that made sense, right? Because inflation, it affects different things in different ways. Eggs, they go up and down in price. Gas goes up and down in price. Compensation is relatively inelastic. So when it goes up, it kind of stays relatively high. It doesn't come back down to where it was before it rose. And so the increases of 21 and 22, they didn't fall back much. But what changed was equity. The equity benchmark was down by 26%.
Wow.
And part of that is because executives are optimizing for cash and severance and things like that, which are normal to do in a downturn. And companies are also trying to be more efficient, but they learned that we can't offer lower compensation by a significant margin. So let's play with this equity component instead. And so I'm really interested to see as we come out of this downturn now, right? Like as interest rates are now going to start coming down in 2024, what changes once the market becomes stable? Does this change fundamentally what companies and leaders are optimizing for? I think it'll be really interesting to see what plays out there.
Do you think do you think that severance, like, I mean, there's been a bunch of like features of executive compensation that we coach people on, and we'll find out more once the results from the executive compensation survey are released. But are there any features that, just because there's less leverage from the candidate base, because maybe the startup, at least the high growth labor market, is tighter than it's been over the course of the last couple of years, are there any features of executive compensation that are just much, much harder to get, like severance, pre-negotiated milestone increases, any kinds of structure to equity, anything that you're seeing through your executive search practice?
I think the structure to equity, just because you can see that the equity benchmark has gone down by such a significant margin, you can see there's a reluctance over there to even want to negotiate these terms. There's a general reluctance to negotiate the nuances of equity. And I think that increased last year. I think on two sides, severance was really interesting, where candidates want more severance when there's a downturn, obviously, right? Because severance is protection for a period of time for you to find a comparable job in the market, and takes into account the risk you're taking on, the tenure you're giving up, as well as the state of the market. And the state of the market is a big variable into that. And so theoretically, candidates want more, but companies, when they're optimizing for efficiency, want to give less. But I did notice that companies on average were giving more severance than they did when the market was hot. Because when the market was hot, they were like, hey, you'll find another job in 3.5 minutes, right? Whereas right now, they understand it'll take a while for a CRO to find another comparable job. I think the CROs wanted 6 to 9 months and they were getting 3. And I think that's probably where it stays for 2024. But leaders have to remember that as the market greatly improves, then maybe you're okay with 3, maybe you're okay with 2 as well, and you want to win on some of those other points. It becomes something you think about because you know that there are other jobs out there that you can get relatively quickly.
Two more questions, and then we'll let you go.
As many as you have, Sam, as many as you have.
All right. Fractionals.
Yeah.
So we've seen an explosion in the supply, meaning like the number of people that are thinking about building their own consulting business. Pavilion's going to be building a consulting school so that
Nice.
people can really be equipped. But that said, the supply of fractional executives has dramatically increased relative to just to proportions, right? There are many, many more people that are fractional these days than there were in the past. And it feels a lot more competitive than it's been. What are you seeing in the fractional world? What advice do you have for people that are thinking about, should I pursue a full-time role? Should I try to start a consulting business? What's your opinion?
I think fractional was this really interesting thing of 2023, where it made sense that the supply would increase because there were a lot of layoffs happening, less available jobs. And so people obviously wanted to stay busy, keep their skill set sharp, and create cash flow for themselves. And so if they can't get great full-time jobs, well, here's a viable opportunity, is to go and be fractional for a bit, especially in a downturn where the demand for fractional services increases. Because if every company is trying to stretch every dollar more than they've done in the past, then they might decide at the Series A stage to work with a fractional leader rather than spend $600, $500, $400,000 to hire a great leader. And so there was an increase in demand and an increase in supply. And I think what's happening now is that you have a lot of fractional leaders that are asking themselves, do I love this? Because it is a different journey, right? You're using the skill set and domain knowledge that you've gained, but now you're running this little business of your own. And that little business comes with operational burden and the challenges that all of us have, which is around time deployment. I'm busy with these clients, but that takes away time from creating future pipelines. So as we came towards the end of 2023, a lot of fractional leaders realized that the first 2 or 3 customers was really easy to get based on your network. But number 5, 6, 7, and 8, they don't just come to you. You have to be doing things for a while, consistently and really well, to create that pipeline. You spoke about it in the top line hotline episode last week, where you said the advice you give people is spend 1 day a week on business development. Most of the people I know were not spending 1 day a week on business development, and that's where it really hurt them. So I think there's going to be a group of people that have now experienced all of this and say, I still like it and I'm doubling down and I'm making a great business out of this. But I do think there will be a lot of people that say, this was good for the market being where it was, but I want to go back into a full-time operator role. Josh Allen wrote a post about this where he said, I miss being an operator. I miss having the team. I miss doing those things. I am going to go back full time. So my take is, and these are my 2 cents on this, I think supply goes down, but demand stays high for this.
Interesting. All right. Wonderful. It's been wonderful to have you on the weekly kickoff.
I was happy to be here.
My last question for you, if you're a new Pavilion member, maybe you're in Toronto, maybe you're not, what's the best way to get value from the membership, do you think?
I think the best way to get value from the membership is to first and foremost find what's happening in your local chapter. And because why do you join community is for the community, right? And so the first part of that, the first layer of community that Pavilion offers is your local chapter. And so I think you need to figure out when the Nets dinner is happening or the happy hour is happening or Pavilion Nets event is happening and get your butt to that. I think that's really important. It is so much fun. I've told you this before. I'm a super introverted person. So those old school networking events were never exciting for me. The first salon dinner I ever attended was one that you hosted. And it blew my mind to be around a group of people that have the same interests that I have and have this structured discussion around these really interesting topics. So I think it's the best way to spend time networking. Do it in the local chapter, then get active on Slack. Not on 10,000 different channels. Don't overwhelm yourself. Pick the 3 that you think will add value to your day to day and check in twice a week. So 2 channels twice a week, I think, is a really good formula there, or at least that was my initial formula. And then look at your calendar for the year. Pick the next big event that's happening that made sense for you to be at. Definitely go to Market 2024. If you're not there, who are you? What are you doing? Come on. And so then you need to plan to get your butt there.
I love it. You're the best. If folks are out there, and by the way, in the Toronto chapter, you and Kyle Norton are hosting regular top CRO invite-only dinners for the Pavilion community, and maybe for some members that aren't yet members, or people that aren't yet members.
It'll be at 50-50. It'll be half the people won't be part of Pavilion, half will. The half that won't be part of Pavilion will be thinking, why have we not joined yet after they come? What are we doing with our lives? But I think it'll be super fun. It'll be a very curated group of people, so that we can make a docket essentially that is structured around topics that we need people to know well to be able to have a good conversation around. So that'll be a lot of fun. But then there's the general Pavilion events happening in Toronto, and I'm usually at those, and I look forward to hanging out with new members there.
And if folks want to reach out to you on Slack, they can. You're an active member.
Yeah, all the time. I check Slack more than I check my personal email.
All right, folks. That's been today's weekly kickoff. By the way, if you want to appear in upcoming weekly kickoff, just send me an email. We want to feature more members. We love these tips that Asad just gave us. He is the president, and he's just the CEO, not president of Sales Talent Agency. He's leading that company incredibly well. If you need to hire sales talent, I would recommend that you check out Sales Talent Agency. And that's all I've got for you right now. Oh, and here, and somehow, and now we've got a third person.
Listen, I showed up just in time to fix all the screwed up answers that
we're just coming to an end. This is AJ Bruno, CEO of QuotaPath. He clicked on the wrong link. He was not invited to this, and yet here he is.
You shouldn't include me in the text thread when you told me to click links.
This has been by far the best executive weekly kickoff we've ever had. We've got to record some more stuff, everybody. Have a great week. Listen to Top Line. These are your 3 hosts right here. We hope to see you in Scottsdale at the CEO Summit. Sign up for that Arbinger Institute course. It's going to be awesome. CMO School and a bunch of other great stuff. Oh, February 8th. February 8th, save the date. Our annual kickoff with a big announcement. We'll see you next time. Have a great week, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye, everyone.